So a man that did probably what many of us would have done, chase some burglars from his home and continue to chase them, has been jailed. And in the process, he lost his job and he lost an unborn baby because the wife couldn't take care and had to have an abortion. Now that's, by the by, nothing to do. I'm not making any comment about that particular part, but it's not the first case of this actually happening. Some of you may remember many years ago there was a farmer that was jailed for killing one of the burglars that went into his farm, a guy called Tony Martin. Now, these people had repeatedly burgled him, and they taunted him basically, and in the end he opened up and shot them, and he went to prison for it, which I believe was wrong. I believe a man should defend his own castle. However, in this particular case, the guy gave chase in his car, and it says a father who chased two burglars himself was jailed and has lost a £60,000 a year job. Adam White, 34, spotted Taylor Benford and Ryan Paul at his home through the CCTV. When they were trying to break into his home, he grabbed his keys to his 4x4, pursued the pair. Adam lost control of his car, and Benford and Paul both ended up in hospital after they came off their motorbikes. Good. I have no sympathy with these burglars at all, and whatever happened to them, I wouldn't care. And I know some of you do good as go, oh, but a life is still a life. You have your thoughts, I have mine, but no, I wouldn't give them the steam off my piss. That's just how I feel. So it said, since then he's lost his job, and he goes on to say he will regret the moment of madness for the rest of his life. Now, he went to prison and he was padded up in a place that was absolutely rampacked full of dealers, and it had a massive drug epidemic, so there were people walking around like zombies on spice. And his cellmate trashed the cell with him in it and was self-harming, obviously not dealing well with his sentence. And he said he just couldn't believe it. He said it was the most horrible experience of his life. It's quite interesting to note that the inmates called him a civilian because they said he didn't belong there. But if you have a go in this country at protecting yourself, you will be punished by the system because they don't want people to take the law into their own hands. They don't want people to stand up for themselves. They want a weak and compliant bunch of people. And it's led to believe that the actual judge made an example of him. That's amazing, isn't it? Now, given the fact that you can call, say, for instance, the police for a burglary and they may well show up about a week later, the joke was, if you were being attacked, you could make a phone call to the police and they'll show up to the funeral kind of thing. I have no faith in the police. I make no bones about this. But there it is. This guy's had his entire life ruined. The wife decided that she couldn't look after the child on her Jack Jones because he wasn't around to help support, so she aborted, and that's obviously not a good thing. He had 2 kids already, and obviously he couldn't see them while he was in. He's since come out, by the way, and got a job, and he's getting on with his life. But this goes to prove that if you show any spirit, you're nailed. Now, some of you may have said that once they were off the property, he shouldn't have chased them. Okay, that's your decision. But when you're being burgled, I don't think you're thinking straight. If anybody's been in a situation before that would be either a crash or a fight or something pretty extraordinary where you've got the fight or flight, there are some strong emotions that take over that some of the people don't have much control over. Obviously, this guy was one of them. But you have to ask yourself this. If somebody had, say, for instance, done something to your house with your loved ones in it, how would you react? I remember there was this one guy that tried breaking into my flat and my neighbour's flat at the time, and this guy who did it, I got the phone call, I ran home, we went and found him. He won't do that again. That's all I'll say. He's still fitting well out there, okay, so don't worry. But he won't do that again. But the police, these people that go around committing crime, they actually think it's a job. Some of them actually say, I've got to pay my bills. So you have to pay your bills by robbing people. Another example is this. The ones that go around robbing work vans of their tools. Well, that bloke there who's gone to work with those tools pays tax. That tax pays for your benefits, mate. So you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. Not just that. When you take a Hilti power gun that costs 300 quid to buy and you sell it for 20 quid for a bag of smack or whatever it is you do, right? It's just total waste. But no, I think that criminals that rob houses, rob work vans are scum of the earth. And if something really bad happened to them and they disappeared, I'd have no feelings at all towards them at all. Because these people really are the absolute worst of the worst. And they've helped ruin a good man's life. Now, he'll rebuild, but he'll never get over that. The guy's traumatised. I mean, he did all that time on his head, surrounded by hard nutters, right, in many cases, seeing people getting beaten up. He watched... There was a thing, apparently, that what they do is they get a kettle and they pour fabric softener in, and where they got that from, I don't know. And when you boil it, it turns to like a glue, and they throw that over each other, by the way. It's like napalm. It sticks to you and burns all your flesh. A normal bloke who's just a working guy who does something a little bit over the top in some cases, right? And he gets this. I'd like to know what happened to the two boys that were trying to rob his house. What do they get? Next to nothing. They're there, poor little thing. The world has gone mad. But this is the thing. Next time you get yourself in a situation, remember this. The law is not on your side. Why is it you think that they don't bother doing anything about criminals, or very rarely they'll do anything about criminals, say, for instance, that try robbing something out of your car? I mean, going back to the 90s when I used to have stereos nicked out of me Capri, you could tell the police, they went, oh, well, there's a crime number. And that was then, right? People get robbed these days and they'll just get a crime number for the insurance. You know, that's how it is. But say, for instance, you go and hurt somebody's feelings or do something, the police will come down you with a full force. So just bear this in mind. If anything happens to you, you have to be fully aware that you will be turned into the criminal. And it's like this in many things in life when you look at it. Say, for instance, a lorry driver. We're the scum of the earth usually, right? And the wages come back down again. Just thought I'd let you know. But we are treated like brain-dead, knuckle-dragging idiots most of the time. However, should there ever be an incident out there on the road that involves one of these idiots, brain-dead, flid, because there's so many people out there that just drive like brain-dead idiots. They really are, right? And they do something. They don't go after that person. They go after the professional driver. So they use the taco on you. They use any other CCTV that will be going on in the cab. Now, obviously, if you've got enough CCTV to prove that you haven't done anything wrong, I don't know, they'll probably go through the truck and look for something they can nick you on. But generally speaking, there are trucks out there without CCTV in it, right? A lot of small operators and stuff like that. They always go after the professional driver. How is that fair? That's like going after the bloke that protects his house when these burglars, and incidentally, these burglars had a lot of form. They were well known to the police. I truly believe that this magistrate should have dealt with this completely differently. Maybe a fine, because obviously driving dangerously, chasing somebody is obviously against the law. It's kind of funny, actually. I listened to this soundbite, and there's this guy. He's over in America, by the way, and he's rung 911. He's saying, "Yeah, my house is being burgled at the moment. Can you send some police, please?" And the woman says, "Well, can you tell me what's happening at the moment?" He says, "I don't know." She went, "What do you know? What do you mean you don't know?" He says, "I've taken their car." So these burglars had gone with their car to rob his house, and he's in their car and he's nicked it, right? And she said, "Well, you shouldn't really do that." He went, "Yeah, but I didn't want them to get away with my stuff." And it was quite funny, actually. And even the woman on the end of the phone said, "I don't think you'll get done." And she was having a laugh, but you wouldn't get that over here. Jesus, no. But anyway, just thought I'd point this out. I'll put a link to the story in the description so you can have a good look. Also, the links to everything else, including the new Telegram channel, the Rev White Activist Chat. And it does state very clearly in there, in the rules, this group is for pointing out racism aimed at white people. It is not for being racist or prejudiced or hateful to any other group. Just so you know, okay? Because I wouldn't put up with that. But if you see something where it is clearly being prejudiced against people who are white for the sake of them being white, let us know. Put something in it. Anyway, the link for that will be in the description, so have a look, see what you think. And as I say, it is not a group for doing anything else but pointing out unfairness, prejudice, and hatred and racism aimed at white people purely for the colour of skin. Nothing else. Can't be any clearer. So if you go in there trying to stir up race hatred, you will not last a second. There you go. Right. I'll get off. I'm going to go and do the next video. I'll see you in a bit.